For exactly 3 years, you've been running the logistics network for an illegal operation out of this isolated warehouse. You've become a tough, ruthless man named Julian. Of course, that's not your real name. The weary face in the mirror no longer reflects the idealistic detective from Homicide. There's only one person in the world who knows your true identity and badge number. Your partner Marcus, listening for your breath over the radio from the safe house. But today, the flawless plan you've been weaving thread by thread for 3 years is about to fall apart, because your true identity is about to be exposed, and you'll have only a few minutes to get out of that room alive. Infiltrating this organization wasn't just a mission for you, it was an irreversible step that completely changed your life. For 3 years, you woke up every morning as a different man. Every day, you made risky decisions to earn the trust of the organization's leader, Vargas. When the captain first assigned this mission, he said, "You'll get inside, unravel the supply network, and we'll launch the operation." But as you delved deeper into this illegal underworld, you realized that this network isn't just made up of street-level operatives. It's a vast system that extends all the way up to the city's administrative ranks. And you're the man who has to move with increasing caution every day just to survive within that system. That day, while you were handling paperwork in the warehouse door burst open. Hector, the organization's field supervisor and the tough guy in charge of security, walked in. There was no emotion on Hector's face. With 2 security guards behind him, he walked straight toward the desk where you were sitting. He approached you slowly and just looked into your eyes. You sense that something is wrong. Hector says, "Julian." His voice sounds very serious and dangerous. "Stop what you're doing immediately. Vargas is waiting for you at the main estate. There's an emergency." Hearing that, an involuntary fear grips you. Your reflexes kick in. You keep your hands on the desk, in plain sight, where Hector can see them. A detective's greatest strength is maintaining his composure even under pressure. "I'm reviewing the documents for the new shipment, Hector," you say, without letting the casual, hard-edged tone of the Julian character slip from your voice. "I need to finish the paperwork for the routes at the South Pier. Vargas doesn't like delays." Hector leans against the edge of the table and slams the heavy metal object in his hand down hard. As the sound echoes through the warehouse, one of the bodyguards behind him reached inside his jacket. "No one cares about the documents anymore," says Hector, looking him straight in the eye. "There's a leak inside. We've learned that the organization has planted a mole in our main headquarters. Vargas is on the verge of finding out who that man is." That's when a sharp cramp grips your stomach. Your heart rate doesn't change. Not a single muscle in your face twitches. You control your breathing, because the covert mission taught you one thing. The moment you sense danger, control your breathing. You know exactly who the man behind the leak is. The encrypted cargo coordinates you passed to Marcus last night from the payphone at the port ended up in the police's system. Someone made a mistake. Marcus or the headquarters teams left a trail, now directly threatening your life. You stand up and slowly slip the items on the table into your pockets. As you put on your jacket, the weight of the metal at your waist whispers the only truth of the moment to you. If you want to get out of that room alive, you have to calculate every move in advance. "I don't like the guys who harm the organization either," you say, looking at Hector. "Let's not keep Vargas waiting then." When you step out of the warehouse and get into the back seat of the black armored vehicle, a security guard is seated on either side of you. They don't speak a word during the ride. Your phone is in the inner pocket of your jacket. All it would take is pressing a single button to send Marcus an encrypted emergency signal. But you know the men beside you are watching even the slightest movement of your hand. You look out the car window, running through scenarios in your head about what might happen today. Outside, there's pitch black darkness. The vast city seems to have swallowed everything whole, and you're heading straight into the heart of that darkness, perhaps toward the most difficult, most dangerous confrontation of your life. As you step through the mansion's massive iron gate, you immediately notice the extraordinary military discipline in the air. There are twice as many security personnel in the garden as usual. The crackle of walkie-talkies fills everyone's headsets, and the guards have completely blocked off the entrances. This isn't an ordinary meeting. It's preparation for a major cleanup. Hector leads you to that large, wooden-doored study on the upper floor. As soon as he opens the door, you immediately sense the heavy atmosphere inside. Sitting behind the desk is the organization's leader, Vargas. Vargas is a man with graying hair, but his gaze makes it clear just how dangerous and alert he is. A large, yellow envelope sits on the desk in front of him. The envelope bears the red official seals of the police department. Vargas leans back and says, "Julian, come sit down. There's a very important matter we need to discuss." You walk over to the desk and sit down in the heavy leather chair. Hector stands right in front of the door, waiting with his arms crossed over his chest. Vargas places his hand on the yellow envelope on the table. "Our man inside the police department delivered this envelope to me this morning," Vargas says, looking only at you. Inside this envelope are the real identities, photographs, and badge numbers of all the undercover officers working in this area. It came from the police department's most secret archives. You can't take your eyes off that envelope. Your real life is inside that envelope. Vargas touches the seal on the envelope. You have about a few minutes. When that envelope is opened, your ID photo, your real name, and your history with the homicide division will spill out onto this desk. Vargas wants to gauge your reaction to that envelope. If your eyes wander, if your hands tremble even slightly, you know your ticket out of this room will be canceled. All you have to do is keep your cool and react as if you're the one who wants to catch that criminal the most. In other words, Vargas needs to feel that. Adjusting the tone of your voice, you say, "The organization thinks they can take us down from the inside. They've made a big mistake. Let's open the envelope and see who that man is, Vargas. I want you to leave the task of finding and neutralizing the person inside the organization to me." Vargas smiles slightly, but you sense a deadly suspicion lurking behind that smile. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small letter opener. "Of course, Julian," he says, placing the metal opener against the edge of the envelope. "That task will be yours anyway, but first, let's read these names one by one. Let's see if any of the faces on that list resemble any of the men here." As you slowly tear open the metal-sealed envelope, the only sound in the room is the paper ripping. Time is running out. Even the sound of that old fan in the room makes you feel like you're going to lose your mind. Your right hand is under the table, near your leg. Your instincts are telling you to act, but you feel that one wrong move could end everything. Marcus, waiting in the safe house outside, has no idea what's going on inside this building. He's just listening to that empty static coming from the radio and waiting. Now, you have to make a decision. Either you'll wait for the envelope to open completely and your name to be read, or you'll take matters into your own hands and determine your own fate. The envelope's flap is fully opened, and Vargas pulls the papers inside toward the table. Hector stood at the door, his hand inside his jacket. Your hand, under the table, was just 2 centimeters from the weapon. If those papers are spread out completely on the table and Vargas sees the photo on the first page, it will take Hector only half a second to act. There's no chance of missing from this distance. So you engage that detective's reflex in your mind and make that final move to take control of the room. "Vargas," you say, keeping your voice in Julian's cold, defiant tone. "Do you really believe that envelope was leaked from the police department this morning? I've been managing this port's logistics network for 3 years. I know exactly how the guys at the police headquarters operate. If they had a list of the entire covert operations team, they wouldn't have sent it to you in an envelope. This is an operational tactic." Vargas pauses before placing the papers fully on the table. He sets the metal letter opener down on the desk. Narrowing his eyes, he looks at you. "What are you getting at, Julian?" he asks. His voice is more skeptical than usual. "Think, Vargas," you say, leaning forward. You clasp your hands on the table so Hector can see them. There are only 4 hours left until the big shipment at the South Pier. The largest illegal cargo in the city's history is about to dock. Right at this very moment, a list of undercover cops from the police department lands on your desk. Why? Because they want you to open this list, panic, and start questioning your men within the organization. While you're searching for the mole inside, the security network at the pier will collapse. The cargo ship will be stopped by the Coast Guard in federal waters. This envelope isn't a leak. It's a timing trap orchestrated by headquarters to distract you. Hector calls out from behind you. "Let's open the envelope, Vargas. Then we'll understand why Julian's been talking so much. If his name isn't on the list, he'll go back to his job at customs." Vargas slowly turns the first page of the papers at Hector's words. At the top of the page are the official letterhead and seals of the General Directorate of Security. You know that the man they know as Julian, that is, your real file, is on the 3rd page. Vargas reads the names on the first page. There are old operational photos of 2 detectives from the narcotics division. He flips the page, moving to the 2nd page. Your heart is pounding, as if it might leap out of your chest, but you don't let the slightest thing show on the outside. You wait without even breaking your breath. In this line of work, The most important thing is to keep your emotions and reactions under control. Just then, a muffled explosion from outside the mansion shakes the windows of the room. Immediately afterward, panicked announcements come over the security guards' radios. Central, 2 vehicles have breached the west gate. Armed intruders are present. Perimeter security has collapsed. The moment the explosion is heard, all power to the mansion cuts out. The old fan inside the room slowed down and stopped. As the room plunged into darkness, only the faint light of the sky outside remained. You realize Marcus hasn't been idle outside. The moment he saw Hector pull you out of the warehouse and bring you to this mansion, he must have realized the operation had been compromised and deployed the police's tactical teams. As the alarms start blaring, Hector made a sudden move. But your reflexes are far more professional than his. Your hand under the table was poised. You lunge toward Hector over the table. As the sounds echo through the room, Hector falls to the floor. Vargas tries to reach for the drawer behind the table, but you leap over the table and force his hand down onto it. With your other hand, you grab the yellow envelope and the classified documents on the table. Those papers can't stay in this room. If they fall into the hands of the cartel's other men, the entire covert operations team in the city will be in grave danger. The game is over, Vargas, you say, no longer as Julian, but as a detective from the homicide division. You grab Vargas by the arm, pull him to his feet, and lead him toward the door. The hallway is in complete chaos. Security personnel exchanged fire with the tactical teams entering the garden. No one notices you leaving the room because it's filled with the smell of smoke and gunpowder. You take the service stairs at the back of the mansion. You memorized the architectural layout of this building 3 years ago. You know every turn and every hidden exit like the back of your hand. When you reach the ground floor, you kick open the laundry room door leading to the backyard. Outside, a freezing pitch-black rain is falling. The tactical team's black vehicles are parked in the middle of the garden. Marcus, ready for action, spotted you as he secured the building's entrance. "Julian, over here," he shouts. You push Vargas toward Marcus. The teams immediately pin Vargas to the ground and handcuff him. You hand the yellow envelope to Marcus. Raindrops are slowly dissolving the seals on the paper, but the documents are safe. "Is it all over?" Marcus asks, with that tired yet relieved expression on his face. You look up at the sky and take a deep breath. "The organization has collapsed," you say. You feel as though the rain is washing away that 3-year-old grimy Julian mask from your face. "But I'm done too, Marcus. I can't go back to that room." 3 weeks later, you're sitting in the debriefing room at the police headquarters. On the table are neat stacks of paperwork, a fresh cup of coffee, and your gleaming badge. The captain is looking at you from across the table. The Vargas network has been completely dismantled. The corrupt figures in the city's administration have been arrested one by one. You're the hero of this department now. Everyone's talking about how you managed to survive in that hellhole for 3 years, but they don't know what you left behind. "You did a great job, detective," says the captain, placing a new file in front of you. "Your desk in the homicide bureau is waiting for you. The city missed you." You look at that shiny badge on the desk. You look at your reflection in the metal, but the man reflected isn't the same detective. The decisions you made as Julian over the past 3 years, the lies and the harsh realities of the street, have completely transformed your soul. To take down a criminal organization, you kept their books and played by their rules. And now, you don't believe you can sit at that desk like a clean-cut cop and forget those rules. You stand up. You take the badge in your hand, but don't pin it to your chest. You gently place it in front of the captain, right next to that pristine file. The clink of the metal hitting the table echoes through the room. "My duty is done, Captain," you say. Julian stayed inside that warehouse, but that honest detective didn't come back either. There's nothing else I can do for this city. You grab your jacket and leave the room. As you walk through the police station hallways, you hear the routine announcements coming from the officers' radios. The city continues to spin in the same chaos, the same rhythm of crime. When you step outside the building into the gray rain, you pull the old pack of cigarettes from your pocket and toss it in the trash. You're no longer a detective, nor are you a secret agent. You're just an ordinary man who, after seeing the true face of the system, left his identity behind in that mansion's room. This story tells the tragedy of a man who surrendered his soul to the darkness to destroy an illegal organization. Sometimes you have to hide behind lies to uphold justice. But eventually, those lies become your only truth. While fighting the monster before you, Not becoming that monster yourself is the hardest test in this world. And you destroyed the organization, but in return, you gave up on yourself. So if you were in that situation, would you be willing to live as a completely different person for 3 years to protect the values you believe in and take down a major criminal network? Would you sit at that dark table at the cost of forgetting your true identity? Don't forget to share your choice and your reasoning with us in the comments. If you enjoy this kind of dark, psychological, and procedural detective POV content, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to get instant updates on new episodes. If you'd like to support us further, you can join our community by clicking the Join button. Until we meet again in the next case, keep your eyes peeled and never underestimate the truths lurking in the shadows.